Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. I was just hanging up this image of a Class 68 and a Nova 3 that I got at the Greatest Gathering. The story of the Trans-Pennine Express Nova 3 is actually quite sad. They were introduced only a few years ago as the big new passenger trains that would be running on the network around York and around Manchester. And then only 3 years later, they were retired because of teething troubles that Trans-Pennine Express was not in the best place to deal with. And over that time, train spotters really latched onto them, train spotters especially, because it wasn't the seats or the ride experience. I think is a reason for this love for them. And don't get me wrong, I love the Class 68s too. I mean, come on, I've got one right there, and I've got one right there. I don't have the model of it, but still, massive 68 fan. I even went to York once purely to see them. But what else do we have for push-pull trains anymore? There used to be loads, now there's just the NSA 225s, which I love of course, and then another operating company that I'll get onto later. They are related to this. And I know a lot of enthusiasts thought that these Mark V coaches had just been scrapped. And well, I'm very happy to report that that is not true. They were put into storage, and now a different TOC has decided to take them on and run them with the Class 68s, though they have had some very strange modifications. I'm Albert, welcome to Albert's Rabbit channel, and this is the Railway News. Yes, this inconsistent series is back with some very special push-pull news. That's something we don't encounter often. Between 2013 and 2017, 34 Class 68s were built. Prior to their withdrawal from TPE, they worked with 3 different types of trains. The Nova 3 Mark V A sets, as seen here, freight trains with direct rail services, and that third company which I've yet to mention. It is, of course, Chiltern Railways, where they run Class 68s with Mark III coaches on express services from London Marylebone. It's probably pretty obvious by now that the Mark Vs and cab cars are going into use with Chiltern. After all, they are the only other 68 push-pull operator. Their current rakes of Mark IIIs and driving van trailers have received criticism for the fact that they are nearly 50 years old. Also, that livery, and so, after refurbishment, residents served by Chiltern Railways will be able to ride in refurbished and upgraded Mark V-A coaches. This includes the reintroduction of first class on Chiltern Railways. However, it has been reported that these trains will not have catering. And as for the motive power, the former TPE 68s, owned by Beacon, have had an uncertain future since they were placed into storage at the end of 2023. But it has now been confirmed that the Class 68s will move along with their Mark V-A coaches and driving trailers into use with Chiltern. The reason being that, unlike Chiltern's, these 68s were modified from construction to work with the Mark V-As. Therefore, the 68s currently operating with Mark IIIs will return to direct rail services where they're currently being leased from for freight use. Back to the ex-TPE locos, our beloved Bobos will not remain exactly the same. Because, just like the current 68s, Chiltern will not be fueling them with diesel, instead with HVO oil, made of waste vegetable oil and animal fats. Now, this is probably old news to a lot of you, but in case you don't know, hydrogenated vegetable oil is a fuel made from a variety of waste substances, mainly cooking oil and agricultural byproducts. It is put through a process called hydrotreatment to remove the oxygen and impurity, creating an oil which is completely renewable and much better for the environment than diesel. This is what Chiltern used to fuel the old 68s, so they're going to continue doing it with the new ones. And there you have it, Chiltern is finally getting these Mark Vs. By the end of next year, they should be operating services between London Marylebone and Birmingham, while the extra sets will replace DMUs on some of the long-distance lines. It's a new era for the Nova 3s. Just a shame they have to wear the most boring livery in Britain.